I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off of sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up in so good for me.
All right, good evening. Happy to see everybody here. Shout out to everybody who made it on time. Those of you who got here early, shout out to Steve, man. He beat Willie Bobo in the chat. That never happens. Willie Bobo said first, and he wasn't first. Just a little mini game within the game. Shout out to everybody on TikTok who moved over. If you have questions for me, sports-oriented questions, any question, you need to come over to YouTube, join the live stream, and I will let you know, and we can go from there. Just ask the question in chat, and that's how we'll do it. So tonight, guys, here's the deal. Transfer portal, extremely quiet. One signing, not worth talking about, really. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's trending. Then I'm going to go over the running backs that are left in the portal, okay? And then I'll take all your questions. Show could be pretty short tonight, which is cool because I haven't had anything to eat for dinner. And I want to take some time to hang out with my dog. So just so you guys are aware, every day I try to live stream, but some days are more hectic than others. I did get called into work today. I do have a daytime job, not for long. This is what I do full time. This is what I do for a living. But the Army still pays me. I'm still active duty Army. I'm a master sergeant for the last 5 years. Been a first sergeant for the last 3. Trying to retire, brother. Been in over 20 years. So it is about time to tap out, start a new life, do a new thing. And fortunately for me, I make enough resources to where I think I'm going to be able to do this for the rest of my life. And that's pretty exciting. Talking sports with you guys every single day, giving you guys sports takes, answering your questions, and providing a certain level of accuracy that nobody ever knew existed until I created this channel. And what I'm referring to is, you know, there are certain sources in this world that you guys go to for your information, and you just assume or you think that that is the answer, that that is the accurate information. It's a Google society. So when you Google something and you look for results, you go with those results and you make it happen. And you say, this is what I found. I found it on Google. It came from a credible website. It came from one of these HTTPS websites, secure websites. It's got those logos we're talking about, like 24/7 Sports, On3, Rivals. Shout out to Rivals for actually showing up on one of my videos today. The Rivals account on TikTok wrote and said, hey, man, why are we catching strays? We didn't have the error. And I wrote back to Rivals and said, center mass, meaning you're not catching stray bullets, bruh. I'm aiming for you, center mass. I'm letting you know you are part of the problem as well. And I told him, you don't want the smoke. I told him, you can go find the comment. It's underneath the video I made about 24/7 Sports. There in the comments, Rival says, hey, we're here. Why are you writing like this? And I told him, I'll do a video on you guys next. I'll point out 100 errors on your website. Real talk. None of these websites are ready. They got Twitter fingers. They're not here to be accurate. We are. Rico knows. I know. It's a movement. A shout out to everybody who believes in us, everybody who's been here from day one. I got some real day ones. Let me tell you guys something. They're letting me do these timelines where I get to post old videos on TikTok. And if you guys haven't seen my old videos on TikTok, they're not sports related. They're life coach related. They're thirst trap related. I dropped a video yesterday on TikTok of me spitting bars, of me freestyle rapping. Guys, I didn't post that on YouTube. I left it off of YouTube. It's a TikTok exclusive, mainly because the beats will get copyrighted and I'll get a violation. I didn't want to do that, but I'm letting you know now. Once upon a time, I was a beast. It's still in there. It's still up here. Somebody said, spit some bars, spit something. Impress us. I'm good. So anyways, let's talk about what's trending today. If you look at breaking news right there, I put Bally Sports is broke. So if you guys don't know who Bally Sports is, you probably don't have cable. But if you have cable and you go to like all those extra channels where the regional sports channels are, in the 6, 7, 800s, whatever it is, the RSN channels, they're called Regional Sports Network channels, and they have an agreement. Bally Sports is regional, meaning it's all, if you're in the upper northwest, what is it, Pacific Northwest? If you're in the south, if you're in the west. Remember we used to have Cal High Sports? They used to have Cal Sports West, Cal Sports East. They used to have Fox Sports West, Fox Sports East, Fox Sports North, all that shit. Well, Bally Sports is that, okay? And it's got a parent company called Diamond. And Diamond, they run Bally Sports. They just use that name, Bally Sports. Well, they expanded way too fast. They have too many production companies, too many channels, and they're broke. They're so broke, it's gross. Now, Major League Baseball can't televise all the games for baseball. So they contracted out their games. Now, they got however many teams they have. I don't know how many teams there are in baseball, but I should know. 28, 30, somewhere around there. But there's 162 games a year. And they go out and contract 14 teams to be covered on Bally Sports channels. And Bally has to pay periodically to have the rights to show those games. Now, if Bally doesn't pay, it triggers a grace period. There's this great, like if you're late on your rent. If you're late on your rent at your apartment, you don't get kicked out right away. But somebody's going to come knocking on your door. You're going to have a late fee. I don't know if there's a late fee, but it triggers this thing where Bally's supposed to pay. And Bally's got 7 to 14 days to pay their rights every month or so. And they're supposed to be paying these teams. So it all started when Bally went out and filed for bankruptcy. They said, we can't afford to make these payments to the Major League Baseball. Now, Major League Baseball can cover their own games. I want you guys to think of Major League Baseball as their own entity. They can televise their own games. They have a channel, Major League Baseball Network. And they can stream some of the games. Now, the deal is the teams want to own their streaming rights. You can't even talk to the Yankees. You can't even talk to the Red Sox. They own their own TV rights and streaming rights. You want to watch all the Yankee games? You got to buy this ticket. And it's like $24 a month. $240 a year. The Red Sox are worse. They're $360 a year. Okay? And these guys are so successful with their channels. like Sunday Ticket equivalent, right? They're so successful with their stuff, they don't even want Major League Baseball involved in televising their game. Like, you don't even get a say. All the big markets, we're talking Dodgers, Cubs, Mets, Yankees. I think the Cardinals are involved in this too. They don't want any piece of Major League Baseball televising their games or even streaming their games or putting a package together. But Major League Baseball has these failing small market teams, 14 of them, that have a contract with Bally. And Bally just showed up and said, we can't pay you. So once we can't pay you, baseball just says, okay, we got to take those teams over and we're going to televise the games and we're going to put them on Major League Baseball Network. Sounds like a good thing. And they know how to put on games. They know how to produce it. They know how to, they have cameraman for it. They have everything. But it's a huge endeavor. I want you guys to think of the one game a week the NFL Network televises. The one game a week they put on Thursday. Could you imagine if the channels didn't pay and NFL Network had to televise all their own games? Who they got in the booth? Who are the cameramen? How do they get to all the stadiums? And that's the problem baseball has right now, is Major League Baseball is about to do a major lift of having to televise all their own games for those 14 teams. Now, there's a whole nother drama here, which is Major League Baseball wants to capitalize on this. They want the contract to fail, and then they want to talk to all their teams. And they want to put together a streaming package. And then you can pay for the streaming package, and now they can stream the games, and they don't have to pay for channels. They don't have to have an agreement with other TV channels. It'll just be a streaming service. But the problem is, if you don't have the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Dodgers, you don't have a streaming service. If those teams don't agree to be a part of the package with all the small market teams, you don't have a streaming. Nobody's going to buy it because you're missing all the important teams. And the big market teams know this. They're going to drive a pretty penny. They're going to ask for the world from Major League Baseball. So baseball right now losing their ass, and this is crazy because Bally Sports, because they're still going through litigation and they file for bankruptcy, they still get to televise the games. They're still making money off of the commercials. They're still making revenue off these games on their channels, and guess what? They aren't paying baseball for them. So baseball's losing their ass right now. True story. I say all this to tell you guys this. I study everything. And when I was looking at this, I came to the epiphany, I don't think Major League Baseball will be on TV beyond 2030. I think every single game of Major League Baseball will be streaming, and there will be no television channel showing you Major League Baseball. It'll all be streaming by 2030. And we're in 2024, 2023, right? Yeah. Within 7 years, no more Major League Baseball on TV. I'm saying it now. Now, I don't know if you'll know me by then. Hopefully I'm Rico and I'm on top of the world. But I really mean that. I think baseball's done. So shout out to baseball for being what it is. Shout out to Bally Sports for not giving a flying flip. They just keep missing payments, bro. They just keep missing payments. You know who never missed payments? SMU. You know, we talked to this young generation about the death penalty of SMU. I did a lot of research on it last night. I was just curious if anybody really knew the ins and the outs of SMU's cheating scandal in the 80s. And it all started really early on, like in the mid-70s. One of their coaches was out there saying, let's get these guys paid. They started paying money. And yeah, the joke is Eric Dickerson took a pay cut when he made it to the NFL from the Trans Am and all this other stuff. But I wanted to tell you guys something. Trev Alberts too, right? The Pony Express. We all talk about it. But when I did my research, there's a part in there that I forgot. And the part is this. They got caught cheating. They got caught paying their players. The NCAA came crashing down on them. And you know what they did? They kept paying their players. They sat down with the boosters and they said, hey, man, the Magnificent Nine or whatever it is, the Shameful Nine, the Naughty Nine. They sat down. They banned 9 boosters for life. They sat down, got caught cheating, and SMU didn't miss a payment, bro. SMU said, oh, yeah, we got caught cheating? Okay. Yeah, we're in trouble? All right. Hey, but anyways, we made promises to these players. We're going to keep paying them. We made promises to pay $1,000 a month to these players. We're going to keep paying them. And he just kept doing scheduled payments to the players after they got their punishment. And that's what caused the death penalty after the fact. It was a second chance. They had already been slapped on the wrist, already been told you did wrong, already had to vacate a bunch of crap. And then they found out one of the players that they were still paying got kicked off the team. And as soon as he got kicked off the team, he sang like a canary, bro. He went out and just started snitching. Dry snitching. He just started talking and said they've been paying me for the last 2 years. And guess what? That poor young man, I don't want to go into detail, but he did pass away. So hooked on cocaine. The two guys that blew the whistle on the Pony Express did not live very long. One died in the mid-'90s, 1995, very young. He died of a heart attack, cocaine overdose, while being a part-time owner at a gym. And another guy died in the early 2000s. Like, they just didn't make it, bro. Did I say Trev Alberts? I meant Craig James. That's me, bro. That's on me. It happens. I got a lot of names in my head. Craig James, great voice in the booth as well. But my point is, and that's when they got the death penalty. And then they got crushed. And the details of them being crushed is insane. I might make a video on it. So, yeah, that's my little rant. Bally Sports. If you've ever had somebody owe you money and you see them in the street and they still owe you money, but they just keep it moving like they don't owe you money, we got a problem, right? I don't know about you guys, but I got to collect, bro. You ain't doing me like this. You owe me $100. You don't have $100, but I see you going to the movie. Man, I might just take something from you, bro. I might jump your backyard fence. I'm taking the air compressor. I'm taking your grill. I'm taking whatever's worth that amount of money. It's just what I'm doing. It's where I come from, bro. We're cut from a different cloth. So Bally Sports not paying Major League Baseball and just going, hey, and you know what they did? They went to the court and the baseball said, hey, Major League Baseball attorneys told the judge, and this happened today. They said, can you please expedite this bankruptcy because we need to get our games and we need to get our rights back to our teams. These guys aren't paying us. And Bally Sports goes, oh, we're just trying to keep all our options open. We're really trying to make the payments. We'd like a grace period to make our payments again. No, you don't. You know you're not paying, bruh. These are the people running up credit cards knowing they're going to file for bankruptcy. Bally Sports, you should be ashamed of yourself. And if you work for Bally Sports, your days are numbered, bro. Your days are numbered. Go enlist in the Army. You need a job. I'm just saying. All right. Enough of my rant. Let's we'll get to the list over here of running backs, but let me go take some questions here and go from there. So, good evening, everyone. Please start out by hammering that like button. Enjoy the show. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for the introduction. I really appreciate you, brother. First, Rico, please explain to everybody if you agree that ESPN will be signing a deal with the Pac-12, namely to replace the content lost of the Big Ten games solely being on Fox. No, Campbell, you got it all wrong. That was the theory about 6, 7, 8 months ago. The theory was ESPN is losing their TV contract, and they're going to need to fill it with something, so they're going to go get the Pac-12. They just lost their non-exclusive rights. It's called a Tier 1, Tier 2 contract. It wasn't the exclusive rights to the Big Ten, and that's going to Fox, right? And they paid an absorbent amount of money. I think $380 million for a year. No, they're not trying to replace or refill their missing content with the Pac-12. They're out on the Pac-12. The bigger issue with the Pac-12 is it wants to go to a large streaming service. It wants to do a good majority of their games to be streaming. The Pac-12 contract is going to expire July 1st of 2024. So once the contract expires on July 1st of 2024, then there's going to be a problem. And I'm going to tell you what the problem is. Nobody's going to want to schedule Pac-12 teams. Now, it's going to be the Pac-10, right? They said they're going to stand fast at 10 teams. They're willing to stay there. Then the athletic director at San Diego State said, hey, we're in the Pac-12. We're going to be moving. He said it at a meeting with all his boosters. So SMU, San Diego State looking like they're going to join the Pac-12 and get it back up to 12. But ESPN's out. ESPN does not want to buy any part of this TV deal. They actually have TV rights to ACC, to the SEC, and then in 2025, they start with the Big 12. So you're going to see a huge flip on the Big 12's, I guess, notoriety and credibility on ESPN. They're going to start advocating for these teams. All those years they ignored Baylor and Kansas State and TCU. Now all of a sudden they're going to tell you how great these teams are and why they belong in the top 10. It's just going to happen. It's propaganda. But, hey, secure your investment. Do what you can. But Pac-12 is actually on the outside looking in. What are they going to do? One idea is Amazon. Amazon, although it's streaming, Amazon is out here bidding on NFL. If Amazon were to bid on a college conference, holy smokes. It's unique. It's different. You're going to take a hit the first couple years, but it could be pretty solid. Now, if you don't have a TV contract, no one is going to want to play you in the preseason. Out-of-conference games, they're going to avoid the Pac-12 teams. It's not worth it. It's not as lucrative. It's not worth it. And I think the Big Ten's looking to add Notre Dame. Notre Dame's running out of their TV contract with NBC, and they're looking around going, man, it doesn't pay as much. Not as much as what these conferences are getting. They're splitting $380 million every year, 14 ways. There's a tweet out there somewhere that tells you how much each team gets paid per conference in the Power 5. And the Pac-12 is the lowest paid team right now. And it's probably going to be lower if they don't get on a TV channel. We'll see what happens. But you know what? The Pac-12 has had disasters over the last 20 years, and they've survived because of USC, because of UCLA, because of rivalries with Notre Dame. But they had disasters. Are you kidding me? They were on a channel called Versus. The commissioner said, let's start our games at 9 p.m. West Coast time. 9 p.m. on the West Coast. Because nothing else will be showing at that time is what he said. Now, ESPN's not struggling. On Saturdays, they have UFC. So Saturday nights, late nights, at about 7 p.m. Eastern, they can start televising UFC on their actual channels if they need to. And they will, if they need to. They put in a huge emphasis on hockey. They bid on hockey like crazy, and they're sticking with it because they won the bid on it from CBS, I believe. So there's a whole lot to it. I don't think ESPN I know ESPN's not in on Pac-12. They're not in. Now, I say they're not in, and I'm referring to the primary contract, right? The exclusive. There's still non-exclusive TV deals where they'll try to show, who knows, one to two games a week. That's not the exclusive TV deal. But they do get partials. But they're out on the exclusive. They're out on the primary. That's where they're at on that. So shout out to you. We here. Shout out to you. We here. We're coming. RIP 24/7 Sports. Yeah, if you guys don't know, I was going through the transfer portal on 24/7 Sports, and while I was going through it today, I found a dead player in the transfer portal, according to 24/7 Sports. This young man passed away a couple weeks ago, and they still have him in the transfer portal waiting to sign for a team. Unless he's playing for the Angels in the outfield, I don't know what the hell 24/7 Sports is doing. This reminds me of the year I was doing a draft in fantasy football, and there was an auto draft because somebody wasn't there, and the dude drafted Fred Lane, running back from the Panthers. He had passed away. Fred Lane was no longer with us, and he got drafted in one of my leagues. It happens. I'm sure Henry Ruggs was drafted or will be. These websites don't update their rosters. It is what it is. ESPN will not sign Pac-12 because they only play late games during UFC. There you go. There you go. What up, Lexi? Shout out to Lexi. She threw out a wave there. That's sexy Lexi. What up, girl? Blake Anders gave me the peace sign. How good is that kid from Maine that transferred to Colorado? He looks like an athletic boundary end. Brian Doyle, you're talking about Chris. What's his name? I know his name. I'm drawing a blank right now. Give me a second. Let me pull up my list here. I watched all his film. I thought he looked like a role player, a transitional rotation guy. Give me a second here. I want to pull him up. Is it Means? I'm forgetting the name. Mans. Transfer's coming in. Kari Mans. There it is. Kari Mans. I knew it. Sometimes names escape me. Yeah, so I looked at the kid, 6'2", 237. I thought he was a good player. I thought he was rotational. They're so deep on the defensive line, it doesn't hurt to have him. That's the reality. I like that they beat Kansas to get him because I know Kansas was interested. So beating out another Power 5 school for a recruit, how do you do that when the other school went to a bowl game and you were one of the worst teams in the country? Shout out to Coach Prime for winning that recruiting battle. That's a lot more important than the actual production by the player. I almost said soldier. By the soldier. You know what I'm saying? Have you coached anywhere or scouted for teams? Brian Doyle. I have coached before. I don't really care to give my resume every single day that I get on live. People ask me every day. It's not your fault. So, yes, I've coached. I've never scouted for teams. Scouting is typically done by some career scouts, some people who do it, or interns or people who want to be scouts. I have no desire to be a scout. I just assess talent that I view on film. I report and make evaluations of things that occur in the news. I'd rather be a sports journalist and a radio or TV or podcast personality as opposed to being a hardworking scout that has no life other than to look at film over and over and over and look for flaws or traits and skills and applicable things. I just don't like that. I find that life to be boring. I can sit here and talk about Bally Sports for the last 10 minutes because I found it interesting, You can't do that as a scout. You're sitting there just staring at somebody's 3-step drop and wondering if he got enough depth and where's the punch on his hands when he's blocking, some crap like that. I don't like that. Not for me. We get Yankee games added into our cable in the Northeast. You do, Brian Doyle, the Yes Network. Remember this, though. Yankee games will still get blacked out because of the TV contract. So if you're in a local TV market, it can still get blacked out if they didn't sell enough tickets, just like they do for NFL games. So this will take away the blackout if there's only streaming services. Just something to think about. HOO, shout out to you. HOO is an acronym, heard, understood, and acknowledged, but we say it all different ways. Watching baseball on TV is awful. I haven't seen the new pitch count. I've actually never watched the baseball game from beginning to end since maybe the Cubs in the World Series winning it all. Yeah, that's about it. Tampa is better than all those teams this year. Shout out to you. I wouldn't know. Hola, Rico. Hola, 4 names. Anna something, bruh. ESPN does Sunday Night Baseball. You think that stops 2? Yeah, I think it does. I think all the TV contracts go away by 2030. Yankees will have to share their network. Will still have their network. No, Brian Doyle. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Some of these teams, they don't want to give up their network because of how much profit they make. But if Major League Baseball wants to sell a package with all the team streaming services, the individual teams would have to give up their rights. The only way they're going to do that is if you put some money where your mouth is, right? Put the money where your mouth is. How many people are buying the streaming service for the Yankees? Probably a boatload, right? And how many wouldn't buy it if the Yankees weren't in it? They need to do some research and come up with a number they all can agree with. It'll take time. Booster in high schools in Florida and Texas pay players. I don't believe that. I pay my kids $20 for big hits. I can't deal with Brian Doyle. Every comment you've written at this point is out of here. Cocaine was a pre-workout in the 90s. I don't believe that either. Maybe the 80s. That SMU team in 81 was good. Yep, they're second team in the polls. They finished second in the polls. They only be allowed to broadcast Rocky games. All right, ESPN taints everything they touch. That's a valid statement. I'll buy it. They ain't touched me yet. Rico, you made it out of the Army. Do you know who I am? I'm still in the Army, and I don't have a clue who you are, Anna. Wait. Hold on. Nah, you're not Anna Nunez. I only know one Anna, and that's Anna Nunez, and I don't think that's you. I can't tell in the profile pic. We're not about to have a reunion up in here, but if you're not Anna Nunez, I have no clue who the hell you are. You've been talking to scammers. Don't talk to me. We don't know each other. We've never talked before. Larry Scott, the WTA guy, left a scar for the Pac-12. Yes, he's talking about Larry Scott was the commissioner who made these poor decisions for the Pac-12. That's what J-Lo's talking about. Shout out to him. Did you Alexis taxes? You mean Alexis, Texas? Alexis, Texas? Oh, boy. That's all you need in your life. Kari Man. There we go. Will CBS deal end with the SEC in 2024? Yes, it will. And they're trying to make it end a year early if Oklahoma and Texas move over. That CBS deal is going away. The exclusive CBS deal is going away. They'll still have a portion of it, but they're going to be transitioning to covering a portion of the Big Ten. CBS is. It's just the way of life, man. Channels change. It is what it is. I know the D-line coach from Kansas. He knows his stuff. There you go, Brian Doyle. Shout out to you, Brian Doyle. You pay players. You know guys. I don't know if I believe anything you're writing anymore. Have you ever heard of Grambling State running back Floyd Chalk? No, I haven't, Shanty Michelle. I don't typically cover FCS guys unless they transfer to the FBS. I already got my hands full trying to keep up with 133 guys or 133 teams at the highest echelon, so it's tough. I can't do it. All right. Well, we caught up in chat. We'll let you guys keep asking questions. I'm going to start going over this transfer portal list and let you guys know everything about it. Oh, wait, we have somebody here said, yeah, because Kansas is such a juggernaut in football. They actually are pretty damn good. You guys can't rip teams that are out here getting to bowl games and bettering themselves and flipping their roster. Leopold's a hell of a coach. I like what Kansas is doing. You gotta respect every program out there. So let's talk about these running backs. So about a month ago, I went over all the running backs in the transfer portal. I went down 25 of them. This is what's left. A lot of guys are off the list. A lot of guys got signed. Alton McCaskill, Devin Ford, Deion Smith, Laneith Whitehead, the kid who walked on to Georgia, Kayvon Lee, the other leading rusher at Penn State for 2 years, now at Mississippi State. So a lot of guys finally found their opportunities, but there's still these guys in the portal, and you got to ask yourself, are they going to get scholarships? I don't know. I don't know how many FCS schools still have scholarships available. I don't know if these kids are interested in playing at FCS, but the JUCO route is a shaky one. I want to explain why JUCO is not ideal for everybody, okay? In 2018, 2019, JUCO, 500 players plus, okay? Over 500 players, sometimes 532, 570 players, all went Division I football out of JUCO. Listen to what I'm saying. JUCO to Division I football, 500 plus before the transfer portal. Now that the transfer portal's here, nobody's signing JUCO kids. You need scholarships filled? You get high school kids, and you go get transfers. JUCO players are not transfers. JUCO players count as initial entry players. They're just like high school entry players, meaning they're part of that 25 limit. I know they lifted the limit this year, but moving forward, there's going to be a 25 limit again. JUCO players are limited to being a part of initial entry players. So they're going to be a part of that 25 cap. They're not a part of the transfer portal. You transfer from a JUCO, it doesn't matter. You're considered an initial entry kid, even if you went 4.24. Even if you went from a 4-year university to a 2-year, then back to a 4-year, they don't care. JUCO are not getting signed. You're just, and I told you guys this before, the analogy I used is you want to buy a used car. You want to buy a used car, but you're going to go buy a used car from a good dealership. You're not getting it from Jim's Auto Sales. Right? JUCOs are not known commodities for great players. Not in comparison to getting a transfer from a Power 5 school. So instead of signing that JUCO kid, you go sign the third-string running back from Clemson. Right? Shout out to Kobe. You go sign other players. So JUCOs aren't being signed. And when I tell you they aren't being signed, they went from 500 players being signed out of JUCO, less than 200. Less than 150. What I see at the FBS level, under 50. I see 40 to 50 players at the FBS level signed out of JUCOs. Now, there's more at the FCS. There's more in Division II, Division III. But I'm telling you right now, JUCO, that entire avenue of approach to finding a school, to finding your future and continuing your football program is less than ideal. It's less than ideal. Because if you're going to the JUCO route, number one, there's some tainted issues there. There's some red flags. Did you have character concerns, grade concerns? Are you a late bloomer? Was it talent concerns? The transfer portal is not for the under-recruited. I hear everybody always say that. Oh, the guy was probably unrecruited coming out of high school and they didn't know who he was, and now he's joining the transfer portal. He gets signed to an FBS school. You know who signs at FBS schools? FCS All-Americans, all-conference guys, and people who had a prior recruiting relationship with the coaching staff. Like they recruited him out of high school. Like I remember recruiting this guy and visiting his high school, and that's why we're going to sign him. There are pre-existing relationships with 70% of these transfers. 70% are pre-existing relationships. Another 20% are proximity-based. I want to be closer to home. And then another 10% are playing time-based or offensive scheme-based. But if you want to sign out of the transfer portal, you need to be a hugely recruited and popular player. Being a 3-star guy at a Power 5 school and nobody knows you, it's not going to get you signed. I study this. I know who's left in the portal. It's insane. It's a part of the problem. So here's Savion Wilkerson, FCS, 1,000-yard rusher. Everybody tells me, oh, my God, he's going to Colorado. Oh, my God, Rico Savion Wilkerson's in the portal. I said, guys, I turned on the tape. This does not look like an FBS level back to me. I don't think he's getting signed anywhere. I told you guys this. Go back and find the film. I have a live stream. It's titled Running Backs in the Transfer Portal. And I pull up Savion Wilkerson and I say, this guy ain't it, bro. It's no knock on the young man. I'm not here to knock these men. Somebody got on me about it today. They're like, oh, you feel like a big man saying negative things about these players? No, I feel like an accurate journalist. I feel like I'm telling you guys the truth about players. When I told you I told you guys, what's his name? Sean Washington was going JUCO. I told you he's not going to get signed by anybody. I watched the tape. Said this is a recruiting miss. I don't think he's that good. I got a guy writing me, well, why don't you stop writing stuff like this? Why are you doing this? Why are you dragging him? Bro, I'm being accurate. So when I watch Savion Wilkerson, I'm being accurate. I don't see an FBS level player. I watch a lot of film. I watch an insane amount of film. More film than anybody, I promise. I'm watching film 10 hours a day. And when I watch FBS level film, game film, players at practice, and then I watch huddle film, there's such a drastic drop-off in competition that it's hard to assess how good the player is because he's the best player on the field in high school. Probably the best player in the history of your high school. So when I'm assessing the film, I'm like, okay, wait. Yeah, I just saw him break for an 80-yard run, but when I watched him, he looks like he runs a 4.7 240. I know he scored an 80-yard touchdown, but he looks like a 4.7 240. I don't think he's good. I see this all the time. And the people who watch my channel, the people who watch my videos, they go, man, Rico, you have such an eye for like speed, athleticism, the right talent level for the game. Remember, I'm watching film for the NFL draft. I'm watching film for FBS level players, FCS level players, transfers. I'm watching film for high school players. And I have to readjust my calibration. Like I have to look at it and go, oh, wait. Yeah, he looks fast. Oh, he looks FCS fast. That's how I do it. Oh, yeah, he looks good. Oh, that receiver, 4.62. And I've been spot on. I told people how fast JSM was going to run, how fast Israel Bonicana was going to run. I told people how fast everybody. I'm just on it. My calibration is there. So some of these guys aren't it. And when I look at Savion Wilkerson, not the guy for me. Don't know where he goes. Probably FCS. Probably a lateral transfer. He belongs at the FCS level. Maybe North Carolina A&T. They need a running back. They lost by Shaw Tutton. Shout out to them. I don't know where he goes. And if he signs at an FBS level school, and I'm wrong, just know he wasn't their first option. Just know he's their third or fourth option at running back. Just know he's the 85th guy. He's the last scholarship they're giving out this year before they go into fall camp. And you don't want to be that guy because that means they didn't want you. That's the reality. Victor Vinn right below him. Speed demon. Speed back. Looks great on tape. He's not available in the portal. Victor Vinn, these guys are lying. Victor Vinn actually committed to Liberty. I say he takes the role of Shedro Lewis. I'm trying to fix myself here. I apologize. Shedro Lewis just jumped in the portal. I forget where he committed. I should know this. But Shedro committed somewhere. And obviously, Day-Day Hunter's in the portal. So, and I don't even know where Day-Day's at on this list. He's not even showing up here. But Day-Day's still in the portal. So, shout out to them. There we go. Jail Stacks, former Colorado running back. I told you guys the last time I saw him on here, I told you he is FCS bound for sure. Now I don't even know if he's FCS bound. I don't know where he goes. So he went to Colorado. He's a local Colorado kid, but he should have never been at the Power 5 level. He looks chunky on tape. He looks slow. I watched him at practice this spring. I watched him on tape, and I just don't see what I'm supposed to see. Now, I thought he might go to like Northern Colorado, NAU. I don't even know if that, or NAC, and Northern Colorado, NCU, whatever. The McCaffreys just got fired from there. I thought he was going there. They just hired a new coach, former coach, the special teams coach from BYU. I'm forgetting his name right now. FCS teams, man. I can't memorize everything about them. But I thought Jail Stacks would go there. I think he's going to end up like Division II, Division III. He's not an FBS level player. He's just not. So, shout out to him. Jakari Moses, Western Kentucky, running back. Moses is 5'9", 195, and he's already committed to Missouri State. So, he already went to FCS. So, shout out to him. He's a small Florida guy. He was 2 stars coming out of high school. He got injured, but he's a grad transfer. And I'm just happy that he found a school that believes in him, going to Missouri State, and going to try his best. Good for him. I like that. When I see a 2-star kid be realistic about his talent and transfer to the right school, and then there's other guys who aren't transferring to the right school. Now, here's Michael Drennan. Michael Drennan was an all-purpose back coming out of high school, 4-star kid, passed up on USC. I think he might have had an Ohio State offer, and he goes to Kentucky, and he can't play at Kentucky. Looks good on tape. Looks a little chubby, like a little baby fat, but he looks good on tape. He really does. Now, I don't know if he's a package deal, but he has on his Twitter, he's got a guy named Jerome Buckner. He's a kickoff returner, punt returner, wide receiver, little guy. They're like best friends. I don't know if they're a package deal. They said, come get us both, something like that in a post. But Michael Drennan should be on a team right now, barring character issues. Talent-wise, he looks like he should be on a team. I don't know if he should be starting, but he's definitely a part of a backfield somewhere. But this is a guy who couldn't start over Smoke, Havassier Smoke. He's from Ohio. Can't go to the Ohio Bobcats. That's where his best friend's from as well. He played for Ohio. I don't know where he goes. Don't know. I'm still patiently waiting. Former 4-star, former stud, but hey, more power to him. Thad Franklin's not in the transfer portal, y'all. Thad Franklin is not in the transfer portal. He is a huge back, but on December 20th, he committed to ULM. He's been at ULM ever since, and he'll be their starting running back, one of their battering ram running backs. I like him a lot. He's fun to watch. Not very fast, but he just looks for a linebacker, and he wants to light him up. So, Thad Franklin, 3 years of eligibility. Let's go. Shout out to the young man for finally leaving Miami and going somewhere where he has an opportunity to carry the rock, because they lost their starting running back to Jacksonville State. Rich Rod getting running backs. I'll cover LGen, and then I'm going to go over to the chat here. So, Lynn J. Dixon, if you guys don't remember Lynn J. Dixon, LJ Dixon, he was the starting running back at Clemson his freshman year. He was great, true freshman year. This man looked good. 547 yards, then 635 yards his sophomore year. Back-to-back years of really good production, and we all thought this guy's going to be it. But then he got in the doghouse. He didn't do things correctly. And his running backs coach was C.J. Spiller, who we all respect, right? C.J. Spiller, former stud in college. He's in the Clemson Ring of Honor, I think, and former NFL back. C.J. Spiller, and you got to remember, it's Dabo, Tony Elliott is the offensive coordinator, and C.J. Spiller is your running backs coach. Dabo says, hey, I'm not going to tell people who should be starting. I'm not deciding who gets in the game. I'm leaving that to my position coaches my coordinators. So Tony Elliott says, well, look, I just call the plays, and C.J. Spiller will decide what running back will be in for those plays. They trust and delegate their leadership down, and that's just the way their coaching staff worked at the time. Now Tony Elliott's the head coach of Virginia now, but at the time I can remember there was a dispute, and you can't bump heads with your running backs coach. He just won't play you, bro. So Dixon goes from being a 600-yard rusher to being a complete knucklehead, disrespecting his coach, getting in arguments, and they just say, hey, man, we're going to play this other guy. This other guy named Shipley. We'll go with Shipley, bro. We're out of here. And this was the guy who was supposed to replace Travis Etienne. So then he transfers to West Virginia. Goes to West Virginia for 18 days. And he changes his mind, and he went in the winter. There for 18 days, jumped in the portal again, and he goes to Tennessee because Tennessee needed him because they had just lost Leneath, that kid who just walked on at Georgia for the season. He gets to Tennessee, he can't play. He's not there. And he's gone. So I'm looking for him, and I'm like, man, this is a really talented player. He just bumps heads with coaches, whatever. But this is a 600-yard rusher. I believe in this kid. So I do some research today. I'm like, I got to find out, why has he not signed anywhere? I swear this kid should have signed somewhere by now. And I just keep scrolling on Google. Just keep scrolling. And then I see a story. And I go, no way. That can't be right. April 2023, April, he got arrested. And the reason I didn't know it is because his first name starts with an A. It's a really awkward name, like Antarius. It's not a normal name that I've seen. And I've never seen his real name. I went to 24/7, couldn't find his real name. I went to On3. I went to all the recruiting websites. They didn't have his real name anywhere. I had to go to his university profiles, and then I finally found that is his real name, and that's who got arrested. So he got arrested. He's not going to get signed anywhere. I'm sure of it. This is a troubled guy. He's a cancer in locker rooms, getting arguments with coaches, and now you go, and he put his hands on a woman. He choked her. Domestic dispute, and they arrested him for they call it simple battery. There ain't nothing simple about it, bro. Don't put your hands on a woman. Just don't. I don't care if she hits you. I don't care what's going on. Just don't. But it looks like his career's over. Shout out to Lawrence Phillips. All right, back to the chat, and then I'll go over there. So let's see what happens. Yeah, because wasn't Alexis Texas part of Little Manning's NIL deal? Get out of here, bro. I have no idea. That's ridiculous. Have you heard about any grad JUCO walk-ons for Colorado, the ones you heard from? Yeah, Cisco Cito. So I got tagged in a video by Coach. I don't really want to. I get trusted with certain information, and I don't really put it out there. That's just how it's going to be. I'll wait for it to be published by other news services, and then I'll put out. If I did that, if I go and ruin those relationships, then I burn those bridges, and I don't want to do that. So, yeah, they're doing well. Players did well. Certain players got identified and did well. There's a lot of camps. Just remember, there's a lot of camps. There's a 7-on-7 camp. There's local teams coming in. There's there's youth camps. They're really busy for the next couple of weeks. It wasn't just one day of tryouts. It's a bunch of camps that they're busy with, the coaching staff. So sit tight. We'll do it like that. Brian's the real reason Bill Self got caught by the FBI. Whoo! Is what it is. Then that means CBS will cover a group of 5 schools, right? You know, I don't know. I don't know who's buying the other contracts. It is what it is. CBS Sports Network just got Conference USA. There you go. I haven't studied it. I haven't looked into it. I apologize. Is Dino Babers gone after this season? Q's should hire Ed Ogeron. Brian Doyle. Ed Ogeron is a unique character. I don't know what value he brings to Syracuse. You guys will have to educate me on this. I'm not familiar. Dino Babers is on the hot seat. I hope he does well. He has a senior quarterback in Garrett Schrader. He's a good quarterback. You know, Garrett Schrader in 2021 had more rushing yards than Jahmyr Gibbs in the ACC. Yep. Jahmyr Gibbs was the 11th leading rusher in the ACC. He's just an average dude. Goes to Bama, and now all the SEC fans talk about him like he's amazing. Gets drafted 12th by the worst franchise in the history of the NFL, the Lions. Nah, bruh. I don't know what's going on. But I'm just going to tell you that. I think Syracuse has a chance. They have a chance. Nah, they're in an uphill battle. I like Dino Babers. I do. He's good for one upset a year, so good for him. JUCO in today's NCAA is useless. I don't think it's necessarily useless. I just think that it's a much more refined process. I can tell you this. I went through 24/7 Sports' top 50 JUCO-rated players for the last 5 years. The last 5 years, I went to look at their top JUCO-rated prospects for the last 5 years. None of these guys were hits. So if Malik Benson hits as the wide receiver that just transferred into Alabama, the number 1 wide receiver, if he's an NFL player and he's a superstar, they say he's the next Randy Moss, all this stuff, that'll be the first JUCO guy that the rankings got right. Because the recruiting services, all their JUCO guys that they've been rating, trash. And I say trash. I shouldn't say that about young men. I'm saying they have not assessed their talent correctly. Right? Even their number 1 player last year was Jeffrey Emba. He transferred. He went to Auburn, didn't play, and he just transferred to Purdue. It's like they just don't get it right. The players don't have the impact that they project. I don't know who's assessing the talent on these websites. I just don't. Division II teams need to be on it 24/7 recruiting in the portal for the next few months. Yeah, get away from 24/7 recruiting. 24/7 is inaccurate. Go to a Division II or Division III school. Use that as a JUCO, or if the grades suck, go NAIA. Okay, let's see what we got here. Lots of JUCO kids are busts. Lots of FBS level kids are busts. Lots of recruits are busts. Come on now. Nowadays, if you can qualify, you're not smart enough for college. If you can qualify, you're not smart enough. I don't know what's going on. JUCO kids aren't busts. They were never that good to begin with. This is a fair statement to make. This is what, I saw this video today. This guy was talking about the most overrated quarterbacks of all time. And his number 1 most overrated quarterback of all time was Joe Namath. And I was like, what? Who the hell is rating Joe Namath high? Nobody thinks he's great. His stats are trash. No one understands why he's in the Hall of Fame. He guaranteed a game, and he won a Super Bowl. Got it. There's nobody walking around putting Joe Namath in their top 30. Nobody's walking around putting Joe Namath in their top 50. So how is he overrated? Who's overrated? Don't you have to overrate somebody? Don't you have to say somebody's great to be overrated? No one's saying he's great. Overrated would be like saying Shaquille O'Neal is the greatest center of all time. And then you go and realize he never played 82 games in a season, can't make free throws, was one-dimensional, and probably benefited from playing with Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant. You get the gist. That's how somebody's overrated. For the record, Shaq's not overrated. I'm just giving you an example. So it is what it is. If a kid is sitting in the portal with no offers, at what point should he begin to worry? About 3 months ago, Deacon Cleo Brooks, about 3 months ago. The issue is this. You're going to get communication from teams. But they're probably at this point telling you we're interested in you. Would you be interested in a preferred walk-on? Because these teams don't have scholarships available. Remember, 85 is the limit, and they're still dealing with the COVID year, so every team is strapped for scholarships at the FBS level. And then at the FCS level, yes, there's 128 teams, but their limit is 63. And they're not losing the same amount of players to the transfer portal. They're not losing the same amount of players to attrition. Those teams have a lot of continuity. So who's got the scholarships available? And the teams did something pretty remarkable. They went out and signed full high school classes. And this is why I tell you guys, jump in the transfer portal in the winter. Get in the winter. Remember, the portal opened December 5th. You get in on December 5th, you get a scholarship before December 20th. Because the minute the 20th comes, these teams are signing 25 guys. That's 25 scholarships gone. But if you can get in the portal on the 5th, then you can get signed by a team, and then they'll just sign one less high school player. But that didn't happen. Teams went out and signed full recruiting classes and said, we'll be fine. They signed full recruiting classes, and they did the inverse. Everybody's claiming that the transfer portal hurts high school players. No. They recruited high school players. Full recruiting classes. They then went to their rosters and said, hey, we're over the limit. We got to kick some guys out. And they kicked them out in the spring. There's the winter window. There's the spring window. They waited till spring football. They let them all iron themselves out, rack and stack them. And then they kicked out all the extra players in the spring. That's why one day I was in here and I told you guys, hey, man, 70% of these kids in the transfer portal are redshirt freshmen in the spring. It's redshirt freshmen that never played. It's the coaching staff getting rid of players that didn't hit in recruiting because they're still going to sign their 26. So if you want to make it on a team in the transfer portal, you got to jump in early and get your offer before they sign those high school kids. And that'll dictate the size of the high school class. But if you get in, when you're forced in the spring, you immediately just need to start. So there's a box you can check. When you enter the transfer portal, there's a box on the screen. And one of the boxes you can check is wait to contact. So don't contact me. I will initiate contact. That's what the box says. The box, if you click it, no teams can call you. No teams can write you an email or call you or contact you if you put a check mark in that box. And a ton of players are getting terrible advice and putting a check mark in that box. Because they don't want to be contacted by other schools. They only want their primary school. They want to reach out to the schools they're interested in going to. They don't want to get a bunch of mail, bunch of fucking what is it? Spam mail. Excuse my language. If you check that box, there are teams out there interested in you and they can't sign you because you have to initiate the contact. You have to initiate the relationship. And guys like Sam Hartman, who used a third party to go out and say, hey, man, would anybody be interested in me if I jump in the portal? He jumps in the portal. He's at Notre Dame the next day. He didn't get a bunch of calls from everybody else. He didn't want to go on trips to anyone else. He had one school he was going to. He knew how much money he was going to make, and that's where he goes. But there are players jumping in that transfer portal, checking that box, and not getting contacted by coaches. And then there are players who are so late in the portal, they got in late, and now they don't have a scholarship available. The team backfilled it already. You can't even go and withdraw and go back to your old school because your scholarship's gone. So now you just got to finish the academic year and figure out what your life is. And unfortunately for a lot of these kids, it's going to be joining the workforce. The 40% of players that didn't get signed to a team in the transfer portal, they're not all football players. Let me make this very clear. There are 2,000 women's basketball players, softball players, wrestlers, cross country, swimmers, men's basketball. There's so many other sports that are in the transfer portal, and they get lumped in with the football players. That's not how it works. There's not that many football players in there. I can literally go down every single team and count it for you guys. I literally can. Doesn't provide me any revenue, so I don't do it. But there's not that many FBS level football players in the portal. There's just not. I'd say there's a couple of hundred. And out of 133 teams, that's not much. 1,000 kids found their way to new schools. I've seen the signings are like over 1,700 new schools. 1,700 players to new schools. Pretty solid if you ask me. But there are people on the outside looking in right now. And they should have jumped in the portal in the winter. But they also didn't want to leave their schools. A lot of these kids did not want to leave school. I just talked about Stacks here. I just talked about Jail Stacks. This guy didn't want to leave Colorado. There's nowhere else for him to go. He wanted that scholarship. He wanted to do it. Now he's just got to focus on class, finish up his semester. It's over. Okay. And he's got to find somewhere to go. He's going to be at Houston Baptist A&M Tech or some shit. Watch. Just letting you know. It is what it is. JUCO is the way. There's a coach who has sent over 300 kids to Division I allegedly. No, JUCO is not the way. Seth, JUCO was the only way for 40 years. Now that the transfer portal's here, JUCO is obsolete. JUCO is legitimately obsolete. It is one of the very few ways. It's like trying to find a new job. What's the way to find a new job? You know which way is out? That used to be the way? Was going store to store and asking for applications. That's how you used to find a job. Going and asking for applications. Get dressed up pretty nice, go to the mall, go to every single store in the mall and ask for a job. That's what you used to do, right? Anybody ever done this before? You don't do that anymore. Now there's websites. Now you got to fill out a bunch of stuff, have your resume emailed, do this, have a cover letter. You're going to do your first initial interview over the phone. Then you're going to do a Zoom interview on camera. And then maybe you'll do one in person. Who knows? But going store to store for applications ain't the thing anymore. That's JUCO. JUCO is going store to store application. It's so obsolete and out of date, it doesn't happen anymore. It's just not there. Literally, it was just 5 years ago, 600 guys. And now it's nothing. Just 5 years ago. It's the way it is. So shout out to you guys. If a kid is sitting in the portal with no offers, yeah, okay, we got there. You and Matt Be Great should team up for real. Yeah, shout out to Matt Be Great. I think he has like 300,000 followers or something crazy. He gave me a shout out on a video. I know he covered some of my information, and he told his whole channel, hey, that guy Rico Knows really knows what he's doing. And he gave me a big shout out, and a bunch of people came and started watching my content. I do appreciate it when larger creators discover me. I'm still waiting for ESPN and Barstool to discover me, but it is what it is. We'll just keep grinding. Shout out to Matt Be Great. He's a pretty country dude. I don't plan to team up with anybody. I don't. There's not two people here doing a podcast. I'm good. If I was going to team up with anyone, it would be my twin brother. He's a hell of a he can talk just like I can, but I don't need to be with anyone else. Shout out to them though. I appreciate the support and the co-signing. Right? I co-sign for dudes all the time that I respect and I think are great. But thank you for stating that, GOAT. I may have missed it, but is there any news on defensive tackle DeJohn Terry? Rumors say he plans to stay close to family near Mississippi. So Tone White, I don't deal with rumor. No rumors here, bro. If it happens, it happens. I'll talk about it. If it didn't happen, I'm not talking about it. No rumors. That's just a big waste of time. A lot of JUCO kids didn't have the grades. JUCO in California is free. There's plenty of JUCO guys in the NFL. Off the top of my head, Aaron Rodgers went to a JUCO. Yeah, Jace Walker, a ton of guys go to JUCO. That has nothing to do with it because the transfer portal didn't exist then. What I'm trying to tell you is the transfer portal, everything's changed. Times are changing. And that's just the way it is. And I'm from California. JUCO wasn't free in California. I know this firsthand. But that was 20 years ago. So it is what it is. Shedro went to Tulane. There it is. My bad. I knew that. Shedro's a beast. I like him. Rico spitting facts on these backs. Hey, better than spitting on her back. What's up? What's going on? FCS. Why didn't you talk to me more, Rico? Anna, ain't nobody talking to you, bro. I don't know you. You've been talking to scammers. You're not talking to me. You've never met me in your life. We've never talked. Please go away. We don't know each other. Ridiculous. Rico, happy to see you. Thank you, Cindy. Shout out to Lawrence Phillips. Now that was funny. Hey, if you know, you know. Who would you say is the best corner for this upcoming season? I'm seeing a lot of different names. Curious on your perspective. Connor, unfortunately, I don't make lists like this, comments like this. I just don't. I got to see the whole season play out. I'll assess the corners when it's time for the draft, and I'll base it on what I saw on the field. I will not be reading mock drafts. I will not be reading some other lists that people are talking about. None of that means anything to me. But giving you my perspective on who the top players are at a particular position group right now, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't. Sorry, bro. Did Anthony Robinson commit to CU? I don't care about commitments, guys. I don't live in that world. Commitments, they change their mind. They don't go. It is what it is. Why no Colorado transfer players went to the SEC or ACC? Glenn Fields, what are you talking about? Colorado was 1-11, and one of their starting offensive linemen transferred to Florida State. It was November. You weren't paying attention. You pretended to hate or support Colorado after Coach Prime got hired. You weren't looking in November. So let's just go here. We go to Colorado. We go to transfers going out, people leaving. And we just keep looking. Well, they're not even going to show you. They can't do it on here. They can't go down that far. There's too many people. But we can do this. We can do the inverse. You said none went to the ACC. Let's go to Florida State. Let's look who they got coming in. And let's scroll down. Where's Byers? Oh, there's Casey Roddick right there. Where's he coming from? Colorado. Colorado to Florida State. Just debunk your whole myth, bro. Thanks for the question. A lot of NFL players came out of Blinn Junior College. Yeah, a lot of NFL players came out of junior college. Rico always talks the talk. Rico, I saw T. Martin's son just enter the portal as an underclassman. The portal seems to have no close date. No, you can still declare that you're entering the portal. Declare that you're entering the portal. It doesn't mean you're in it. It doesn't mean teams can contact you. You literally can't enter it until the next window opens. That's what that means. He can also be a graduate transfer with 3 years of eligibility left. You can graduate college. The COVID year doesn't count against your eligibility. Your redshirt year, right? And then your third year. Now you're a sophomore after 4 years. You're a sophomore on the football team, but you've been at the university for 4 years. You can be a graduate transfer. You're still a sophomore. You're an underclassman, like you just said, but you can be a graduate transfer. I know graduate transfers with 3 years of eligibility. I've seen like 3 of them in the last week. They just went to school every single day. One of them's the Penn State kid. He just transferred to Charlotte from Oklahoma. What's his name? Budden, the quarterback? Let me pull it up right here. Charlotte, where are we at? They're in the American now. Charlotte. Jamari Budden? Is that who it was? Micah Bowens, my bad. Micah Bowens, graduate transfer. Got to school in 2020. That didn't count against him, but he got to class. 2021 didn't count against him. He redshirted. 22, he played last year, and he graduated school in 3 years, and he's got 3 years of eligibility left. Dude took a full slate of classes. Shout out to Micah Bowens. Transferred twice, didn't care. Just kept taking classes. Got his college degree. So he's an undergraduate. You look at him and say, well, he's only a sophomore. He's in the transfer portal. I guess it doesn't close. No, that man can enter the portal whenever the hell he wants. He earned his degree. There's no rules against him. One of the guys I really liked for this draft was Rajon Wright. Why do you reckon he didn't get drafted? I know you're not in a front office job, but curious what flaws you might see. So I talked about this in my NFL draft preview of the, was it the Bengals? They drafted his teammate instead in the 7th round. He didn't get drafted, but his teammate did. And if you go look at their backgrounds, they're drastically different. You got a corner that's not nearly as skilled as Rajon Wright, but his father is a city councilman. He was on the honor roll. He was all academic 3 years in a row. He's a model citizen. What I'll tell you about the NFL is this. The NFL's not going to draft you. They're not going to invest in you if you're not a wise investment. Like, would you give a crackhead, and I'm not saying Rajon Wright's a crackhead, I'm just asking, would you give a crackhead $20? Or would you give somebody who's college educated $20? Who do you trust more? I don't know. It all depends. Do you want to invest in someone like Rajon Wright, or would you rather sign him as an undrafted free agent with no guaranteed money, with no pre-slotted or predetermined price range, and say, we're going to make a minimum investment in this guy who might have character issues, this JUCO player who transferred to Oregon State and played well, but we're going to give him a minimum investment. We don't want to give him a signing bonus. We don't trust him that far. He'll still make he's with the Panthers. He'll still make the Panthers team. But he's going to be making the league minimum for his first 3 years if he makes it in the league at all. It's a judgment thing. It's real. People are being judged. It's a profession. It's a profession and a business, and you don't want to invest in the wrong person. You don't. So that's how that goes. Like the kid. Shout out to you, Lawrence Collins. I am the plug. Hey, day. There we go. Now we got our inside jokes going. What's up, man? Question, Rico. Have you talked about Clayton Bush? I did briefly. Clayton Bush is a transfer from Southern Illinois, FCS level, free safety, and I think he's going to Oklahoma. Am I getting that right? Where's he going? Is he going to Oklahoma? Either way, my issue with him is I'm just mad at him personally because Southern Illinois has a really good team. They have their quarterback, their running back, their star wide receiver. Like, they have everybody returning for this upcoming season, and they're like 5th or 6th year seniors. I'm not joking. I said that right. 5th or 6th year seniors, all these guys. They've been together for half a decade, and he bounced on them, and he had the chance to be a team captain, a leader on the defense. These guys are going to make a serious run in the FCS playoffs. I really like Southern Illinois. I even have them saying in week 2 they're going to beat Northern Illinois. I think they're beating the FBS Northern Illinois team. I like the Salukis in Southern Illinois. So shout out to Bush for chasing his dream. Go chase your dream, bruh. Do you. But I just don't like it. I don't like it, man. You got brothers out there you've been with for a while, grinding. Hey, Rico, so what do you think is the best move for athletes with no offers coming out of high school? The best move? The Army. The Army. You got no offers coming out of high school? Find wealth, bro. Find generational wealth. Find lifelong wealth. Go join the Army, bro. You get paid. You get paid. Quick, easy. That's all I'm saying. You want for nothing. I'm just letting you know. No, they can walk on somewhere if they really believe in themselves. You can always walk on. Take student loans like everybody else. Go walk on somewhere. If you think you got what it takes, go walk on. But make sure wherever you walk on, you dominate. Make sure you are an all-conference caliber player so you can hit the transfer portal later and get your scholarship. But if you're not an all-conference FCS level player, what are we talking about? Why are you stressing whether or not you got an offer? The whole goal here is to get an education. You're not going to the NFL. Get an education. You know, I had this talk with an agent. An agent hit me up in my DMs on TikTok, and he said, hey, Rico, can you assess my player for me? I want to know what level of football he can play at. So I started watching the film. I got back to him, and I said, you know, man, I just feel like he's an USFL, XFL type of player. I'm like, when do you think the player realized that? Or has he never been told that? And, you know, the agent thanked me for my time. He said, you know, Rico, I actually feel the same way. I talked to some scouts, and they didn't speak too highly of him. And I'm like, it's not that I'm not going to think highly of him. I'm just trying to identify his ceiling. So what's your ceiling, bro? If you don't have offers coming out of high school, what's your ceiling? Believe in yourself. Put your money where your mouth is. I got no offers right now. I got no offers for my sports journalism. No offers. There's not an advertisement in the background. There's no pause for ads. I got no offers. I'm a walk-on. To TikTok and YouTube, I'm a walk-on, but I believe in myself. I'm literally going to retire from the military, not get a job, and do this full-time because I believe in myself. I think I'm all-conference. I think I'm all-conference FCS, and I'm going to transfer to the FBS one day. That's my mindset. If you believe in yourself like that, and you can afford to do that as a kid, as an 18 to 12-year-old, 20-year-old, then do it. I'm 40 years old, bro. I'm banking on me. I live one life. I'm going to look back at this at 50, and I'm going to go, bro, you gave up a 6-figure job to chase a dream? Are you crazy? I'm built for it. I hope these kids are built for it if they didn't get an offer and they're still that hungry. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. You guys see me here every single day, 10, 12 hours a day. People are always complaining, Rico, you're always on live. You're always on. This is my damn job, bro. Those kids need to sell and believe in themselves. If that's what they want to do, if they plan to be a professional at football, then go do it, bro. But take out the student loans and end up $40,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in debt. You're no different, bro. I got married. I met my wife. I met her. She said, oh, I have a degree. I was like, oh, snap. Meal ticket. I didn't have a degree at the time. We were both 22, 21. She said, oh, I already got my degree. I'm like, word? She got her degree? She goes, yeah, I just got to finish this last class. I got a capstone, and I got my degree. I'm like, oh, nice. I married her. I married her in 3 months. I got a meal ticket. And I'll never forget that day I came home. I had something from Wells Fargo in the mailbox. Wells Fargo? What is this? What is this? I don't even have a bank account with Wells Fargo. Opened it. It said, Jessica Rico and Rico $43,000 in student loans. In my name, because I married her. That's a real problem. That's a real problem. You can do it. Walk on somewhere. Just take out a bunch of student loans. You have to figure that shit out when you're 23, 24 years old. But if you believe in yourself, then do it. And shout out to Jessica Rico. She has a master's degree and severely educated, mother of my children. Bamboozled, bruh. I got finessed. Your JUCO applications analogy was fire. Thank you very much, Frank White. I pride myself on creating analogies on the fly. It's what I do. It's my gift. It's why I am who I am. Shout out to you for recognizing it and appreciating it. Mad love, bruh. Appreciate you. Any news on Clayton Bush? I got no news. He just signed. Who is the most overrated top 25 school? You didn't say team. You said school. School, that's a pretty loaded question. But you meant team, right? Just football team, most overrated. Remember, if somebody's overrated, that means they have to be thought very highly of. So it's really easy for me to go straight to Texas A&M. Texas A&M is probably the most overrated top 25 team. And I know you're going to say they only won 3 games. They're not top 25. Well, go look at ESPN's FPI, Football Power Index, and make sure you pay attention to the preseason poll this summer. You know I'm going to rip it apart. You already know I'm going to rip it apart. But pay attention to who gets votes. Pay attention to some knucklehead in this world putting A&M in their top 25. Now, are they severely talented? Do they have great recruiting classes? Sure. But they have been one of the most subpar. I haven't seen a team do less with more. I haven't seen a team do less with more. I'm trying to think of another team that's done less with more. It's A&M all day. So it is what it is. No, Willie Bobo, you do not know Anna Banana. That Anna is just a victim of scammers who's been talking to a fake Rico in this world. She thinks she and I have been talking. She's going to go back and send that dude DMs who's using my photos. It's not who you think it is. Anthony Robinson transferred to FSU. All right, Jay Boogie. My bad. I haven't checked. A lot of names in my head. What are your thoughts on Ashton Barker? He's JUCO player that committed to FSU. I don't worry about commits. Y'all. Spend no time on commits. Little to none. So my answer is, what do I think about him? I don't. Casey was a dog. Would be starting for us again if he stayed. No shit. Of course. Love the content. Thank you, Namdi. Hey, dude, I think you're the guy with the Nigerian flag on TikTok, right? You have a little Nigerian flag emblem with your name. I think I recognize the name. So shout out to you, brother. Man's got fact checked live. Yep. Get at me. Thoughts on Alex Orgy? None at all, Caden Flynn. That channel, Quarterback One, the channel that makes those videos, I don't follow that channel. It's just propaganda nonsense. It's no different from ESPN when they gas somebody and everybody goes, "Oh my God, did you see it? It's like, dude, the guy's not good. Go watch the film. Alex Orgy's not a good football player. If he was good, he wouldn't have been third string. Like, that guy's not, and I'm not saying he'll never be good. He's getting coached by Jim Harbaugh. He's at a premier university. There's nothing to talk about. If he's on the field for any reason, Michigan's season is over. That's what I think about Alex Orgy. Thoughts on Alex Orgy? If he's on the field, Michigan's season is over. That means JJ got hurt, season's over. Sorry, DNVR was R. I don't know what that means. Alex Orgy won't see the field this season. Poor man's Anthony Richardson. Oh, hey, Lawrence Collins, I didn't see your comment, bro. But you know the deal. I don't think he's a poor man's Anthony Richardson. I don't even think he's that. Like, people gas these kids. They just, you look at how strong he is. I just saw him bench this and lift this. Like, they talk about the linebacker from Jefferson here in Georgia. Forget his name right now. The guy with the mullet and the curly hair. You guys know Sammy Brown. Bro, I watch Jefferson games. He doesn't stick out. He don't even pop on tape. They're like, oh, yeah, running back. I'm like, yeah, Malachi Starks was the running back 2 years ago, and he was way better. He went to Georgia, started as a true freshman at free safety. Go back and watch some Malachi Starks videos before you start talking about this kid. And they're going to tell me, Sammy, this, them. Dude, just watch film. Stop watching highlights. Stop watching stars and fancy graphics and some dude talking all enthusiastic. Just sit down and watch the film in silence, bro. Just watch it in silence. I like to watch 4 or 5 wide receivers in a row. I love to watch 4 or 5 wide receivers in a row because then I can tell which one really pops on tape. This is when the guy says to me, "Hey, Rico, how did you know Tank Dell was going to be so great?" And I'm like, I just watched him on tape. I watched JSN first, and then I watched Tank Dell and went, whoa. I watched JSN, Tank Dell, Trey Palmer, Charlie Jones, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison. I watched them all on the same day and went, oh, my God, the worst wide receiver out of all these, it's going to be that guy they're throwing the ball to the most. It's going to be that first-round pick that they took early, so he's going to get a ton of targets. He's going to be in a system, but I'm telling you, if we had tryouts tomorrow and we didn't know who these guys' names were and they had no shirts on, you need that for effect, Tank Dell beats everybody. Just letting you know. Same reason Will Levis couldn't beat out Sean Clifford. He just doesn't get that dog in him. He's just not it. I'm letting you know. Big LT, I could be wrong, but I think I heard Anthony Robinson went to FSU. Sorry, Denver was reporting the SEC-ACC statement. Was curious if it was true. Apparently it's not for the ACC. Need to check the SEC and see what's happening. I don't know what DNVR is. Is that another channel? I'm unfamiliar with this. Was reporting the SEC-ACC statement. Glenn Fields, I don't know what you're talking about. Dominic McKinley dropped his top 6. CU didn't make the cut. Don't even care. I don't care about any recruits dropping their top 10, 6, 8, 4, 3, 2, 1. None of that shit matters. They're going to sign a letter of intent and then transfer. They're not going to go. They're going to sign a letter of intent and then ask for a release. You think I'm playing? There's a guy in the portal. I don't even have up Rivals portal tonight. There's a guy in the portal. I mean, he went to Mississippi State for 4 months. He enrolled early, and he's in the transfer portal, and he just went to Georgia Tech. He just left. So, yo, I'm out. Doesn't matter. Recruits don't matter. Not for what I'm doing. Not for what I'm doing. He went to Illinois after 3 years at SIU. There it is, Illinois. My bad. You know what I meant. They beat K-State last year. Yeah, they're great. Rico, what's the story with Gabe Stevens from UNC? There's no story. There's no story. I think there are big kids who can't play football. There are big guys who can't play football. There are people who look the part and can't play football. That's how I feel about certain players. Tennessee. Shout out to Jessica Rico. I know that story all too well. I'm just letting you know, bruh. IMO Tennessee, Rico. Tennessee what? Winning the SEC? Is that what the question was? What is the Tennessee question? Please make more videos about the NFL. It's desperately needed. AP, how is it desperately needed? People make videos about the NFL all day long. Nobody's making videos about every college football team. I'm making videos about 133 teams. I'm not sitting here just catering to NFL fans. There's 32 teams, and the fans of NFL teams irk me. Oh, overrated. Tennessee's definitely not overrated. Nah. NFL fans bother me for one reason. And I'm going to tell you this reason. Call it what you want. When I get in an argument or a quote-unquote sports debate, I don't like to call it sports debate because the other person is uninformed that I'm arguing with. Okay? So it's just an argument. It's me versus Joe Schmo in an argument about his favorite team. And let me remind you, I have to know all the teams better than these homers, better than these fanatics, right? The word fan is derived from fanatic. So these guys are all, it's their favorite team their whole life, and they're going to tell me everything about it, and I got to know it better than them to win the argument, right? And you lose a debate. The way you lose a debate is whoever learns something in that debate, you lost. So if we're talking about something, any topic, if we're debating about moose, for example, and I'm going back and forth, and I'm like, a moose is unkillable, right? And then you're going back and forth, you're like, they're easy to kill. And I'm like, yeah, you know what kills a moose? Shamu. A whale is its number one predator. It's the number 2 predator, really. But if I tell you a whale, Shamu, killer whales eat moose. Maybe you didn't know that fun fact. Then I beat you in that argument because you learned something. If you learned something in a debate, you lost. That's the reality. So when we're talking about these teams and we're going back and forth, NFL fans, and I just got to keep it real, they teach me nothing. I learn nothing from them. Nothing. And the vast majority of NFL fans are Neanderthals. they chew on crayons and eat glue, bro. I'm telling you, they jump in the pool, plug in their nose, okay? They're walking red flags. These guys are soft, bro. They ain't about that life. NFL fans are so uneducated. At least when I'm talking college football, I can occasionally come across an alumni. Not all of them, but I can occasionally come across an alumni. And I know it's a college-educated person I'm having a conversation with. But you can't win when you're talking to a Raider fan who wore shoulder pads to a game and painted his face black and silver. It's impossible to win an argument with a dude wearing a piece of cheese on his head. This is why I don't like talking NFL. The average NFL fan is so far from the average college fan because at least some of these guys are college educated. That's all I'll say. I'm just keeping it real. Trust. No, man, you don't know what you're talking about. I swear to you, bro. I get it all the time. Jay Shredder was a great quarterback. You don't even know Art Shell was the best coach ever. I'm like, get out of here. Realest lives on the internet. Thank you, Kamari Parker. I try my best, man. That's just what I do. Do you believe Dylan Raiola ever really wanted to commit to Nebraska, or do you believe he has his eyes set on Georgia from the start? Saquon, read the room. I just told you I don't give a flying flip about recruits. And then you go and ask me about a quarterback who's never played a down of football. I'd much rather you ask me about a quarterback in the transfer portal who went to practice for 2 years and will be on a field before Dylan Raiola ever gets on a field. You're asking me about a high school kid who hasn't played a down of football and won't for at least 2 or 3 years. Could you imagine if I spent the last 5 years just talking about Gunnar Stockton and Brock Vandagriff? I came in here every single day and was like, man, Brock Vandagriff committed to Georgia. Oh, my God, he's going to be amazing. Hey, man, I heard he's going to convince Isaiah Bond to come in, too. They're just both from Georgia. It's going to happen. And no, he didn't, man. He missed out on that. Hey, but anyways, I think Brock Vandagriff's going to be the starter this year. You know what? I saw him at practice. He looks really good. And I think he's going to be a little better than Carson Beck. And, dude, I'm not going to sit here and talk about 5 different dudes who will never see the field for 5 years. It doesn't make sense. But you guys do this shit every day. Somebody in here talking about recruiting like it's going to make a difference on the field tomorrow. It doesn't make sense. Did you go to college? I also love thick girls too, bro. Write the correct form of the word too. T-O-O. Guys don't know what they're missing. It's cool, Juan. Juan, more for you and me, bro. Well, more for me. I'll take your girl what you looking, bro. But it is what it is. Did you go to college? AP. Come on now. Quentin Johnson should send Michigan a check for turning him into a first-round pick. He did it on his own. Tennessee is overrated, IMO, is what I mean. But overrated by who? Who thinks they're that good? That's what I'm saying. Who thinks they're that good? Georgia going back to back to back. Ugh. Are they in a very small hallway and there's 3 guys named Georgia and they're all back to back to back? Like, what do you mean they're going back to back to back? Theo Ash is lame. Don't mind him. We need your superior insight. I'm not worried about it, AP. Shout out to you. Mike Minter and the Fighting Camels, ready to surprise some people this year. I hope so, Seth. If you guys don't know, FCS level, Mike Minter, former Green Bay Packer. I think it was a Green Bay Packer. What was Mike Minter? Who did he play for? The Bears? Tampa Bay? Who did he play for? Saints? Bears. Mike Minter. He was a defensive back. I remember this. I should not get that wrong. My God. But he's been coaching at Campbell for 10 years. And he's got great recruiting classes at Campbell. They have not got it done on the field. Now, they got some good transfers this year. They got another great recruiting class, but they need to make it happen on the field. We need to see some type of production on the field. Pretty good secondary, obviously. They're one of their assistant coaches. He was all conference in the Ivy League. He played at Harvard. He has the school record at Harvard for interceptions. He's in charge of the recruiting as well. So they got some smart people in positions. They're doing well, but, man, I want to see them play better. So shout out to Campbell and the Fighting Camels. So is Dixon, the running back from Tennessee, still in the portal? I thought he entered last August. Yeah, he's still in the portal. You just stay there. You stay in the portal if you haven't found a school. Thoughts on NBA Finals? None. Santi, I'm going to avoid the NBA Finals like you wouldn't believe. Tomorrow night when the game's on, I'm probably going to go for a long jog. I will not be watching the NBA Finals. Don't ask me about it. Don't care. Can't pretend to give a shit about a game I don't like. Can't pretend to care and make up storylines that people want to see. Oh, my God, it's Joker. Just a month ago, I had everybody in my chat tell me how terrible Joker is and how he's not the MVP. And now all those people who were like, Embiid, they now magically just get to flip and change their mind and give me a different narrative. And now it's like, I'm going to finally see Joker win a title. I want to see this. And I'm like, what the hell? I know I just saw that name and that person telling me how he's overrated. And now I got to hear this shit. Oh, well, Butler's going to do this. Dude, stop. Jimmy Bucket's going to do this. They're the 8th best team in the East. It's embarrassing that the 8th best team, you know what this reminds me of? The XFL championship. When a team with a losing record got in the championship. There's no excuse for it. Fix your damn bracket. Fix yourself. Miami Heat, a losing record in the East? I can't get excited about that crap, bro. I can't do it. I won't even watch it. I do talk NFL, just not the way you guys want me to. Let's go back up. Rico, what does it say to you that Jackson State offensive lineman that's in the portal has Colorado in his top 3, but the other 2 being FAMU and Tusculum? Did I say that correctly? Tusculum? It says to me that he has a previous working relationship with coaching staffs. A lot of players in the portal have a final 3 or a final number of teams, and it's all based on a previous relationship or somebody recruited them previously. That's all it says. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't think there's a FBS level talent on the offensive line in the FCS right now. I don't think there's one guy out there. What there is there's a kid out there who could probably use a scholarship and go to a coaching staff that knows him and trusts him. You know, if I'm him, I'm going to FAMU because I want to win the SWAC. Shout out to FAMU. I have them beating South Florida next year. Whoo, sorry, Bethune-Cookman. Oh, he doesn't have FAMU? You set me up. You set me up, Sean Camp. I can't mess with you, bro. Okay, then, if you don't care about commits, what are your thoughts on Casey? How will he play with this? Be a season to prove he can play at the NFL level. I don't know who the hell Casey is, bro. You just wrote Casey. I know every player in the FBS level. You want me to know who the hell you're talking about? Casey who? Casey who? I used to date a girl named Casey. I think she'd tear it up in the NFL. She built like a linebacker, bro. She built like Barry Sanders in his prime. She's 5'7", 220. Thighs for days. She could juke anybody. What the hell? Rico, do you know anything about Chris Walton from JUCO, who apparently showed out at Prime's camp? No. Do not. Videos incoming. Do not. There is a minuscule amount of guys who actually provide insight takes on the NFL. You would literally be the freshest breath of air in the medium. Shout out to you, AP. That's probably true. That's probably true. Shout out to you. If my content slows down, if I run out of things to talk about, I'll pivot. Shout out to the pivot. I'll pivot. What about the new Georgia Tech running back in the portal? I don't know who it is. I don't look at players. I don't talk about players when they enter the portal. I talk about them when they commit to other teams. If I talked about every single player that enters the portal, I'd be wasting a lot of my time because there are guys who are not going to sign to other schools, so I don't talk about them. When they sign to a team, now it warrants me to talk about them. How about that? Think about that. I just have to be more efficient. I can't sit here and talk about every guy who enters the portal. 3 guys from Akron entered the portal yesterday. Are they FBS level players? Are they going to sign to an FBS school? It would be a waste of time to make 3 videos on 3 dudes from Akron who jumped in. You get what I'm saying? So Georgia Tech having a running back in the portal, a new running back. Well, if it ain't Antonio Martin right here, he's lower on the transfer on the totem pole. I would love to know who it is, right? So I'd have to go check. 2023-2024 champions will be the Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, man, they have a hell of a gymnastics team. They got a shot. Mike Minter, Carolina Panthers safety. There it is. I knew what I was saying. Panthers. Did I say Panthers? I said every team but the Panthers? Who do you think had the best draft? I don't know, Julius Caesar. I haven't looked at all the teams yet. I'm doing one a day. Going in alphabetical order by city, and I still get spammed. I had to pay for JUCO too. I agree JUCO is watered down now, but JUCO is free out here now. Not a bad idea to go JUCO if you're not going Division I or getting a full scholarship. Yeah, it's still a bad idea, Jace. You should still go Division II, Division III, if you can go. It's still a bad idea. It's the least ideal option. It is the last resort. True story. But I hear what you're saying. And it's not about being watered down. It's about not being where people want to buy things from. If you go to a JUCO, you are going to a thrift store. You are going to Goodwill. And some people don't shop at thrift stores. They only want new clothes. They only want clothes from nice places. From name brand stores. Like stores at the mall. Like Alabama, TCU, USC. They only want clothes from name brand schools. You get what I'm saying? But you're going to, hey, man, I once found a really good deal at the thrift store. I went to Goodwill, and I found a suit for $35. Oh, my God, it looked great, and I got a job in it. Yeah, you got all those great, stories. But it's not normal. Some people say, man, I went in there, everything kind of smelled a little funny. None of those clothes fit right. Some of that shit had holes. It was poor quality. There's a reason that shit was sent there. Oh, somebody donated this? You know why they donated? Because it doesn't fit anymore. Because it's gross. It was made wrong. We could do Ross. We can call JUCO Ross. Everybody loves Ross. I shop at Ross all day. Nah, that's Group of 5. Group of 5 is Ross in this analogy. Leave my analogies alone, bro. Opinion on Christian Gonzalez. I said he was the third best corner in the draft, but I didn't think very highly of him. I watched him play at Colorado. No interceptions at Colorado. Transfers to Oregon, and he's magically one of the best corners in the draft. I just don't buy it. I watched the film. I'm not impressed by a lot of the things he did. I just didn't believe in him to that degree. So it is what it is. I had Forbes ahead of him. Jimmy Jordan, by the way. Okay. How do you tell if a player isn't NFL worthy on tape? It all depends on the position. And more importantly, and I want to stress this to you guys, there's not a baseline on whether or not you're good enough to get in the NFL. It's not like we say if you run a 4.6 40 and you can catch, you're an NFL wide receiver. It's not how it works. The way NFL teams evaluate players for the draft is they look at their own roster. So they say, hey, is this guy better than the guys we have on our team? That's how you evaluate players. So it's hard for me to, like Keely Ringo dropping in the draft. It's because teams looked at him and said, that guy's not better than the corners we have on our team. I don't care how good he is. I don't care how he compares to all the other corners out there. I don't care if he's the 5th best corner in this draft class. I don't care. When we compare that guy to the guys on our team, he's not better than the guys we got. That's what's unique about NFL evaluations. That's why scouts are specific to their own team. That's why teams have their own draft boards. And that's why Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, when it comes to the NFL draft, after about the 2nd or 3rd round, their top available players doesn't mean shit to the team that's picking. They don't care about those lists. No, they look at that guy and they go, yeah, that's probably the best available player. So what? That guy's not better than the 3 centers we have on our team. We got 2 centers on our team. That guy's not getting picked by us. Some other team will have to pick him. And this is why Israel Abanikanda, being an amazing running back, drops to the 5th round. Teams looked at him and said he's not better than somebody else. That's all it is. You can still be great. You can still be good. Teams aren't picking you because you're not better than who they have on their roster. You need to be better than the guy on their roster. You're not being compared. When they do an evaluation of a draft pick, this shit that people do online where they're like top 10 wide receivers in the draft, top 10 corners in the draft, that's not what NFL teams are doing. They're not looking and comparing you to your peers. They're looking at their own team and they're saying, okay, which one of these guys is better than who we have? Who's an upgrade and improves us? I hope people understand what I'm saying. Do you think the ACC will disband within the next 3 years? No. There's a quick answer. Casey got them Thunder thighs. Shout out to my girl Casey. She's not here. Rico the GOAT. Man, Casey Thompson. Wow. You wanted me to guess Casey Thompson, FAU quarterback, Florida Atlantic. That's where you went. Whoa. Hope he does well. Went to Norfolk State this year. They might win the MEAC. Shout out to you, Kamari Parker. Who's your top 5 players still floating in the portal? I'll make a video on it, ECAT. I'll have to look around. I'll make a video. I just did one last week, top 8. Now I got to give you top 5, bro. I just gave you top 8. I just gave you top 8 players in the portal last week. Did you not watch the video? You guys don't watch my content. I don't know about you guys. Who cares about Casey Thompson? He's going to FAU. Damn. I don't read your guys' comments, but we're here. How realistic is the movie Draft Day? The most realistic part about Draft Day is there's an NFL draft. There's an NFL draft. Look, I got issue with Draft Day. A couple reasons. Number one, Kevin Costner's dad in the movie. He has like a flashback to his dad. The actor that played his dad is only 4 years older than him in real life. I don't like that. Let's fix that right now. His dad in the movie is only 4 years older than him in real life. I can't get down with that. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't like it. The first big trade in Draft Day, though, is actually based on the RG3 trade. So that's very realistic. That second trade at the end of the movie, no go. People not going to your birthday party and it being a red flag because you're a douche, yeah, that's a problem. Chadwick, who was it, the guy? Chadwick? I'm forgetting his last name. The actor who passed away. Black Panther. Somebody put it in chat. Let me know who Chadwick is. Chadwick, not Davis. What was I going to say Davis for? Somebody help me out. Anyways, check this out. Chadwick Boseman. Thank you. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman in that movie is playing a linebacker? He's playing a linebacker. And Chadwick Boseman's 37 years old when that movie was filmed. It reminds me of Grease. Have you guys ever watched Grease on Netflix? Grease just got posted on Netflix. But if you've watched Grease in your life, you know what I'm talking about. Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta are like 30 years old playing high schoolers. The whole cast is like 30-something years old playing high schoolers. Same thing, man. Bozeman's playing an NFL draft prospect, and he's 37 years old. I know. Black don't crack. I know. My boys tell me this all the time. But come on, bro. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. It is what it is. Not a very realistic movie. I just broke it all down for you guys. Was KJ Hamler a better prospect than Mims Jr.? Probably not. But I like both of them. They're both exciting and fast. With running back becoming the most expendable position in football, do you think there will be a decline in running back talent in the future with people switching to higher paid positions? Well, that's already happened, AP. The best players on the field, the best talented player on any team is an edge rusher. Edge rushers are so athletic. They're running 4.4 40s. They're 6'3", 250 pounds. Ever since Javon Curse, the freak, edge rushers are the most athletic guys on every team. Shout out to Micah Parsons and everybody. Von Miller, just studs everywhere as edge rushers. And then wide receivers. Wide receivers became dominant and physically superior because of it. Here's the thing that's going to happen with running backs. Running backs are going to be one contract rentals. You don't ever re-sign a running back. No matter what, you don't re-sign a running back. You draft a running back, cool. Don't re-sign him. Don't care. Don't care how good he plays either. Trade him for draft capital. If he leads the league in rushing twice in his first 4 years, sweet. Trade his ass. Shout out to Zeke Elliott for being absolutely terrible in his second contract. No running backs are playing beyond the age of 30. There's like 6 of them, and they're all worthless. Nobody's playing beyond the age of 30 except for Frank Gore, an all-time great in durability that did it, and Adrian Peterson. Like, these are not realistic goals. We can't do it, bro. Running back should not be signed to a second contract. So you got a couple options there. You never draft him in the first round, or draft him in the first round because you'll get a 5th year out of them with a 5th-year option. So draft your running backs in the first round, but you're only going to have them for 5 years. Don't sign him again. Don't care who it is. Trade him and go get some value because he's not going to be around for that second contract. He's not worth it. It's $20 million being sunk into a position where people can get productivity out of a 7th-round draft pick. You know, everybody always praises the Chiefs for their 7th-round Isaiah Pacheco, but nobody talks about how they missed on Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round the year before. They already forgot about it. They were just, oh, yeah. They drafted a first-round running back the year before. The dumbest thing they could have done. And they replaced it a year later. It's ridiculous. Just Andy Reid, their quarterback. Stuff will hide all the red flags, but I'm sitting here assessing it going, ugh, this is terrible. This is why I look at draft picks. I study drafts. You guys don't want to talk to me about this stuff. How was vacation, bro? Proud self. It was legit, man. I went down to Florida. I took my kids to Cirque du Soleil. I took Kim Jones with me. Took her to Cirque du Soleil. There's nothing like going on vacation. You take a little eye candy with you. Put a little something on your arm. All these haters out here tell me I'm a loser and I'm lonely and I got nobody in my life. I can change my whole life in an instant if I want. But had a good time. We had a good experience. Went out dancing. That was cool. Hadn't danced with a woman in a while. Ever. Like in a long time. I didn't dance with my ex-wife once. So it was pretty cool to dance with. And I didn't dance with my first wife, really. I used to just dance with random girls. So it was a good time. Thanks for asking. It was great to see my kids, obviously. I watching, bro. All right. Shout out to you. Hola, Rico. Anna, don't know you. Stop talking to me. Thoughts on Iowa's defense? Will it be a top 5 unit? So, Dynam, how do you determine top 5? Are you saying scoring defense, yards, talent? What are you talking about? Because my answer to all three of those is no. They either score more points now, so the defense will be on the field more, but they just lost legitimate studs in the draft. Legitimate studs in the draft, and you think they're going to be a top 5 defense? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. Got one good transfer on the defensive side of the ball, but outside of that, I'm good. I'd take Bo Callahan over Caleb Williams. Well, you'd be in the extreme minority. Defensive end is everything. Yep, edge rushers, defensive end, same thing. Is Nick Saban the greatest college football coach? The greatest coach football has ever had, or would it be Bill Belichick? I definitely think it'd be Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, winning Super Bowls is way more prestigious than winning a national title in college football. Those things get won by multiple teams. People dispute it. It's all garbage. You don't even know if you're the best team because you didn't play everybody. There's a whole plethora of things. And you can have a huge talent discrepancy and advantage at the collegiate level. You don't have that at the NFL. There is no huge talent discrepancy. It's there's real parity, and it's a level playing field. And Bill Belichick did everything in the world to get rid of that. It's a pretty remarkable thing. Dude was a $175, supposedly playing middle linebacker. Yeah. Shout out to Frank Gore Jr. Yeah, he's not that good, actually. Watch the tape. Running backs are like Dodge muscle cars. It's got a lot of horsepower, but in 3 years, they're going to be another one with more lease that. Yeah, I don't lease anything. Rico calling out Bijan. How do you fumble in overtime? Shout out to Texas Tech. The movie Pee Wee Herman. It's actually Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, if I remember correctly. Nick Saban has to win 4 games a year, essentially. The other 10 are gimmies. There we go. Hey, let's get back to the transfer portal. I might wrap this up, guys. We've been at this for a while. I'll go for another 14 minutes max, but we'll see where we're at. I just want to go touch on some guys real quick. Pause. And talk about certain players. Just so you know, Ricky Parks finally got an offer. He's been at Utah for a couple years. Never played at Utah. Finally got an offer from Fordham University. So, got a shot, bruh. FCS level. Leaving Utah. We'll see if he accepts the offer. He was a former 4-star guy. Some of these guys, they got too much pride and they don't want to, but he got an offer, and he posted it. Fordham and Duquesne in the last 24 hours. FCS level offers. He had an offer from Bryant University for a while now, but he didn't take it. I know he had an offer from Rhode Island, but I think it's gone. They just ran out of scholarships, but Ricky Parks got a shot. No update on Antonio Martin, Ronnie Walker, none of these guys. Kentrell Marks, no update here. Javion Hunt's actually at Abilene Christian already. He's at the FCS level. Julius Davis is at Montana State, FCS level, gone. Lamy Constant used to be a really good running back. Don't know what happened, bro. And I didn't see him play in 2022, and I haven't seen an offer for him. But Lamy Constant, when he came out of high school, I want to say he had an offer with A&M. Stud. I think it's a grade issue or something, because this is a New Jersey kid. I just don't know what happened. I know that coming out, he was born, I say New Jersey, New York, Brooklyn, New York, or New Jersey, one of the two. But his parents both passed away. He was all by himself, raising himself. It was one of those feel-good stories I remember reading about. And he's got 3 years of eligibility left. He was a a West Virginia kid. And then he went to Toledo. So he committed to West Virginia, backed out, went to Toledo. I don't know. Elijah Young actually has a school. He's at Western Kentucky. Somebody asked me to do a review on his film. I'll see what I can do. Jordan Ingram, I don't know what's going on, bro. You leave UAB, there's a lot of people there. So it is what it is. He was with Central Michigan coming out of high school. It's really weird. He went to Central Michigan, didn't play, transfers to I said UAB, to Auburn. Can't play at Auburn. What are you doing? And now I think he's transferring to Troy. And if you're going to Troy, Asa Martin's there. Asa Martin's a former Auburn running back as well. And I think he transferred from Memphis. And they have Vidal there. My guy. I'm big on Vidal. Vidal's a 1,200-yard rusher last year. 1,100-yard rusher. Like, I don't even understand that move. There's Charles Strong. I don't know. I'm over all these guys. Chris Street didn't do much. I think he's going FCS. Used to be. And then this is the one that gets me upset, and I'm just going to end it on him, is Jaden Hullaby here. Leaving New Mexico. Was at Texas. You see the orange in his shirt. Transfer from Texas to New Mexico. 24/7 Sports still has him in the transfer portal. This young man passed away. He is not alive. Rest in peace, Jaden Hullaby. Rest in peace, 24/7 Sports, for not giving a damn. It's ridiculous. Fix your website. Bill Walsh and Bear Bryant get my vote. All right, shout out to you, Steve. Thoughts on Connor Wegman at A&M? He's a hell of a baseball player. Do you think Mac Jones is the guy? The guy. I don't even know what that means. Does talent, coaching win games in college football? Does talent or coaching? I believe it's talent. Talent wins 80% of these games. Coaching will make a difference when the talent is equivalent, but you can't bridge the gap. There's real talent. Talent's going to win, and that's why the playoffs are going to have a lot of blowouts. Certain teams have a lot of talented players, and others don't. Bryant's in New York. I don't know if it's in Buffalo. I think it's in New York. Don't know exactly. Hey, guys, great show tonight. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for being here. I appreciate everybody. There's hundreds of you in here every night, and that's a plus for us. It's a movement. Not everybody knows about us, but Rico knows.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist. And it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a